Hello, in this tutorial we're going to learn how to annotate images in Inkscape such that the text always follows the LaTeX document that the image resides in. So let's get to it. So we're going to open up Inkscape, and first we're going to start by creating a bounding box that'll bound our image. So we can go over here to the rectangle tool and create a rectangle. And we can position this rectangle at 0, 0, and we want our width to be 165 millimeters, which is roughly 6.5 inches, which is generally allowing for a 1-inch margin on either side. So we have our bounding box. This will be the area that's encompassed by the content. We do want to get rid of this border, so we can go to select our object and go Object, Fill and Stroke. And we can adjust the border to no paint. Now we can add in our text. If you want, you could drag in an image. Here I'm just going to draw another rectangle, and that'll be our example. So I'm going to fill this with red. And I'm going to change the transparency to 100% so we have a nice bright red box. And now I'm going to add a text. And we'll call this rectangle. We'll double click. We'll make this kind of close to what we expect, so we'll make it 11-point font, for example. And maybe we'll make this, sans serif works. So selecting the pointer, we can bring it back and put it roughly center. Now this text is going to be located based on the bottom left corner here. So that's just something to keep in mind. So we have our little title. And now maybe we want to label the axes. We can go back to text. We can label this as Y. Maybe we go down here and we go X. And maybe I don't want to change the size of those. I can put those there. And maybe I want to add a line. Go down to the line tool here, Bezier curves. Click, left click to start, and then left click to end, and then right click to terminate. And I can change the stroke style, so we'll make that 1 millimeter thick, and maybe we'll just add arrows on either end. Or maybe we won't, because that's massive. Okay, and we'll go back to our pointer tool. Everything looks good. With everything looking good, we can now take, maybe resize our box, our bounding box, just so it isn't too big. We still want 6.5 because that's how we can locate the image easily. But, and actually, you know what? We want these to be mathematical variables, so we're going to add treat them like mathematical formulas. And remember, these images are located based off the bottom left corner here, so that's roughly where they're going to show up vis-a-vis the image. So even though this looks a little bit off-center now, I'm hoping that when we publish it in LaTeX, it'll be barely center. So this is good to go. We will now go, well, we'll change our background to white so that it doesn't show up, and then we just get this in the image. And then we'll go File, Save a Copy. And then we'll go, instead of SVG, we'll save it as an EPS file and hit save. We want to make sure that Omit Text in PDF and Create a LaTeX file is turned on. We want to use Exported Images Object Size, and we'll hit OK. And now we can jump back over to Explorer and/or LaTeX. So just really quickly, I want to highlight, we're looking at our LaTeX folder right now, and we can go into Photos where our photos are stored, and we'll see that we have our SVG file that Inkscape is using. we have our rectangle EPS that was generated and our rectangle EPS text. So we can open that with the text editor. And we can take a look through. We can see that it actually provides instructions. So if you're ever not sure what to do based off this video, just look at the EPS_text file and that'll give you an example of what needs to be done. And then scrolling through, we can see that it just is LaTeX code that LaTeX needs to generate the image. So now we can jump over to whatever our LaTeX editor is. Now that we're in our LaTeX editor, we can quickly just make sure that we implement those packages that are required. So that was use package color was required for InkScape. Additionally, because our photos are in a subfolder, we'll need to add the use package graphics, and then graphics path, and then label out what our subfolder is. So in this case, it's photos /. And we'll also need to drive that or add that down here, where we're going to define what the width of the image will be, and we need to key input, not add graphics. We're going to need to input the rectangle.eps_text file. So then we can run this. And now we have our box, and it shows up like a regular figure would. It's an EPS vector graphic, and we have color. And we can see how powerful this is by, say we wanted to scale the image to 50%. We can rerun it. The text stays the same size, however the image shrinks. Additionally, the text that we generated as math appears as math, and the text that we generated normally is regular. So if we change the font or the size of the image or the size of the text, the image will adjust accordingly. Now, the downside obviously here is when I decreased the image by half, that line underneath the rectangle shrunk by half, and it doesn't look totally proper anymore. So this is where I'd recommend setting everything up in InkScape as you want the image to appear. So if you want it to be 6.5 inches wide, make it 6.5 inches wide so that once you come into LaTeX, you can just go full text width, and you know that it's probably going to appear as you want. Hopefully this helps, and best of luck. If there's any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you.